Typically, when people have questions about pointe shoes, they go to the internet, which isn't a bad idea, but very often you don't get all the information. For example, you'll find what pointe shoes look like, you'll find how they're made, which will explain that and tell you that that's not wood in there, and never ever ever is it wood. And a lot of times you can find information on how to sew the pointe shoes and stuff like that, but you don't find a lot of good information about the ribbons. And the ribbons of pointe shoes are very important for a bunch of different reasons. So I figured I would just go over a lot of the basics about ribbons on pointe shoes. First off, I should say, in case you don't know, if you dance, you probably already know this, the shoes do not come with ribbons. Sometimes the ribbons will be sold to you in conjunction with the pointe shoes, so they're kind of included in the price. Most of the times you pay for them separately. Never will you find them already attached. Anytime a non-dancer finds this out, they're always like, oh my gosh, like, why would they not just put them on there for you? Same with the elastics. And I also have to explain to them that it's totally up to your foot. It's kind of like why they're not broken in when you get them, you do that yourself, because it has to be for your feet and not for somebody else's. So when you get the shoes, none of this is on here. It's also a lot prettier than this, whereas mine are kind of beat up. So what you need to do is, you got the ribbons, and the first thing you need to do is, of course, sew them on. So sometimes people just cut the ribbon into 2 pieces and they lay it flat across here and sew it. I cut it into 4 and sew it separately. So if you look, I have mine sewn right through the shoe. I get away with that because I use a clear thread. It's almost like fishing line. It's not a cotton thread, it's like a plastic clear thread, which is a lot stronger. It can kind of irritate your foot if you've got a little bit sticking on the other side, so you have to be careful with it. I just use normal needles, sew it on there. What you do is you take the ribbon. First off, you have to know where to put it, of course, and that's just up to your foot. Mine's just a little bit behind this side seam. If you don't know where to put it, just talk to your pointe teacher. They'll be able to help you out and tell you where is best. Typically, the elastic holds the heel on and the ribbons pull up the shoe along your arch, which will hold the shoe along your arch and make your foot look nicer. So you just kind of take the ribbon and you fold it over so that this bottom part can't fray. It's sewn under there, and you just sew along. Some people do like what I do, and I just did a little rectangle along there. Some people do crosses, some people do little cross stitches. It just kind of depends on what you want to do. Also, make sure you never sew into the drawstring. Always sew below here, otherwise you'll snag the drawstring, you won't be able to tighten or loosen the shoe if you need to, which makes this look like it's really loose, but that's how it's supposed to be. Secondly, when you're done, wrap the ribbons up. This keeps them nice and flat. The way I do this is I lay this out, I fold this down, fold this part up, pull it down, flip this over, hold it along there, oops, and then just go around. It's not all that difficult, but it keeps the ribbons from getting real mangled, which they're going to get kind of because it's tied, it's knotted. Also, after you're done sewing, these ends will be frayed. So what you have to do is seal this off. Sometimes people use lighters and they just hold the ribbon in the fire, and that kind of melts the ends of the ribbon and will seal it up. I just use clear nail polish because I don't trust myself with fire, and it still works. So there's no fraying there. It was super bad when I first did it. So now let's talk about the reasons for the ribbons. As already mentioned, the ribbons pull up along the arch and make it look a lot nicer, but the ribbons also serve as, my teacher always calls them sort of an ace bandage. They are tight around the ankle, provide support, keep you from falling over the box, which is the square part on the end that you're on the platform there, and just keeps your ankle in place, which is very nice. Sometimes in contemporary ballet, they don't use the ribbons because they're not essential, but they are nice to have and also kind of give that look that you're used to in classic ballet. Now let's go into how to tie the pointe shoe ribbons, which I think is the thing that nobody knows how to do. So I'm going to grab my toe pads. And yes, they're goofy looking. Don't worry about it. This is what works for me. Make sure I have the right shoe. Got my tights on. My shoe is sticking. Alright, so what you want to do is you've got both the ribbons. Make sure you got them flat so the shiny side is out. Oops. You cross it over. Typically the inside one goes down first. I don't know if there's that much of a difference. You wrap it around. You try to keep them flat this whole time. So we've now crossed and wrapped around once. Then you hold this one here and bring this one around to the inside. And don't drop it like I just did. Some people say you want to tie it when your foot is pointed. Some say do it flex. I kind of just relax my ankle like that. You can always kind of change it later. Just find out what works for you. So then we tie this into a little knot. And where you want this knot to be is between your ankle bone here and the Achilles. You never want to tie it in the back because it will cause irritation on your Achilles tendon and can lead to some pretty bad tendonitis. So you kind of get it right in this little dip here. So you tie it into a little bow. Sometimes when people are going to be in their shoes for a long time, like during a performance, and they're worried about the ribbons coming undone, they kind of stitch the knot there. And yes, my bow is huge. I really do need to cut the ribbons down more. I just never got around to it because it doesn't matter that much. Then you lift up the ribbons that are along your ankle, and you tuck the bow / knot / whatever up under there. And it doesn't look nearly as pretty as it did before. So there's it all tied. You get that nice classic look with the cross on the front. My elastics are visible, sometimes they're not. It just depends on where you have everything sewn, but that's not all that important. So, I'll show you. There it is. It'd probably be better if I was standing, huh? You could actually see it. And there's the ribbons. Now hopefully that's all you really need to know about pointe shoe ribbons. If there's anything else you want to know, just leave me a comment, send me a message. I don't know absolutely everything, but I figured I'd try to help you out. So hopefully this answers at least some of your questions.